This is the most detailed forecast you're going to find anywhere on the internet for eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. I'm 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. I work for the NBC affiliate in Youngstown, Ohio, so a lot of my videos are focused on that area, that part of the country, but of course we branch out from time to time and look at weather things going on elsewhere across the United States. And what's going on is a lot of people, millions upon millions of people, are under the gun for a big winter storm over the weekend. We'll get to all the details on the snow, the timing, the amounts, and all that in this video, of course, but wanted to start out with the cold this evening. On this Friday evening, we're already well down into the single digits. Our network of weather flow tempest weather stations down here in Columbiana County showing a lot of 2s, 3s, and 4s. We've even slipped a little below zero up in Trumbull County. We have a weather station up near the Ashtabula-Trumbull line that is already showing a -1. Same idea over in Mercer County, across the state line and into western PA. A cold night is unfolding, but at least the wind will diminish overnight. The wind chill has been nasty all day today. It started out near zero, but the wind chill was in the teens below zero most of the afternoon. And officially, the observation at the 7 o'clock, at the top of the hour, in the 7 o'clock hour, at the Youngstown Warren Airport was 15 below zero for the wind chill early on this evening. Now, it's no surprise that with the cold of late, we've seen a big increase in the ice coverage on Lake Erie. Officially, about 3/4 of the way ice covered at this point. Now, the ice is pretty thin and tenuous where the lake is deeper, the central and eastern ends of Lake Erie. But I'm expecting this ice coverage to continue to expand next week. Probably pretty darn close to 100% ice coverage on Lake Erie in the middle of this very cold pattern. We typically don't see our peak ice coverage on Lake Erie until around Valentine's Day, right around the middle of February. But I think we're going to see that peak a little early this year, and already we're way above average. Average here for January 23rd is closer to 45 to 50%. And again, we're up at about 76% on this Friday evening. Now, will that shut down the lake effect machine? It's not going to shut it down completely. Lake Erie never gets completely shut down, but it will greatly reduce the amount of snow flurries and snow showers that can be formed as a result of the presence of Lake Erie. But even with the majority of it ice covered, almost completely ice covered, there's still a little moisture flux that can still add a little bit of moisture to the atmosphere and cause an increase sometimes in snowflakes across northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania. All right, let's talk about our winter storm. It's amazing how wide a swath this is of winter storm warnings. They extend from New Mexico to Connecticut, about 1,700 miles worth of winter storm warnings this evening. Our storm does not look like much on the radar right now, but that's going to change in a big way over the next several hours. It's going to be a mess tonight into tomorrow in Oklahoma and Texas, especially northern Texas, around Dallas, around Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, and then eventually out into the eastern U.S. as well. This is kind of a powder keg situation. We have kind of a perfect situation for a big-time winter weather event. We have plentiful moisture streaming in from the southwest and then eventually from the Gulf Coast region, and we have pure Arctic air, fresh, pure Arctic air settling in. Look at the temperature difference between Dallas and Austin this evening. This is a doozy of a front that is charging to the south and east, and where the moisture is going to meet up with that colder air, we're going to have big problems. Now, it's going to be ice in much of the south, where the air down at the ground will be below freezing, well below freezing, but the air aloft will be quite a bit warmer as warmer, more moisture-laden air streams in from the south, but mostly it streams in aloft as opposed to down here at the ground. So all the ice concerns are to our south. For us, it's going to be snow and a lot of it. Here's a look at our computer model spread as of 7:30 p.m. on this Friday evening. And if you watched my video last evening, I mentioned, meteorologists look at dozens and dozens of pieces of information, including a lot of weather modeling, to try to make even routine forecasts, let alone a big winter storm forecast. But I can't show you all that data. This video would be hours long. But we'll show you a few of our major models here: the GFS Ensemble, the NAM, and the European model. And the amounts are over here. And as you can see, we have pretty good model agreement that we're going to end up somewhere in this box, and that's roughly between 9 and about 13 inches. And our forecast is for 8 to 12. We haven't changed that. We're probably not going to change it. I don't see many reasons to change it. That being said, I'm not going to be surprised if some of us pick up a little more than 12. I updated the odds of certain outcomes today. Didn't change a whole lot, but did up the percentages a little bit on some of these categories. 6 inches is a lock. 8 inches is pretty darn close to a lock at this point. Even 10 inches. I think that the vast majority of the area will see at least 10 inches. Once you get up to a foot, the percentage has dropped to kind of a 50-50 proposition, but that means there's a 50% chance that you're going to see more than a foot. Now, there's not much practical difference, of course, between 11 inches, 12 inches, and 14 inches of snow. It's a lot of snow. It's very problematic. But if I had to place money on it, I think a lot of backyards are going to see somewhere between 12 and 13-ish inches worth of snow. And it's not just us, of course. This map only covers the eastern United States, but as I just showed you, the snow and ice problems extend far, far to the south and to the west. I think 1 foot amounts will be fairly common in the upper Ohio River Valley, even the lower Ohio River Valley, closer to Louisville and Cincinnati. Some places will probably see some double digits or very close to that down there. I think a lot of the state of Pennsylvania, from the I-99 corridor and central parts of the state, all the way through the Poconos and all the way to the East Coast, New York City, Providence, Rhode Island, down towards Philadelphia, even up towards Boston, kind of that I-95 megapolis in the northeastern U.S. where millions and millions of people live. This is going to be easily the season's biggest storm, and for many, including for us, the biggest snow event that we've seen in several years. So again, our forecast range 8 to 12, but let's not split hairs too much. There's not much practical difference, of course, as I mentioned, between 9, 10, and 13, 14 inches worth of snow. Now, if you do need to run some errands this weekend, Saturday's your day to do it. Just bundle up. We're going to be below 0 first thing in the morning. Not much better than 10 in the afternoon, but the wind will be pretty calm as high pressure pays us a brief visit. Clouds will increase. Snow chances will increase overnight. Now, I know what we're going to wake up to Sunday morning. Right? The snow begins 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. By Sunday morning, as the sun comes up, and some people are getting up and about, there may only be an inch and a half worth of snow on the ground. And people, I can see the comments already. Where's all this snow? Keep in mind, we are not going to see a lot of snow before daybreak on Sunday. The lion's share of this is coming later in the morning and into the afternoon on Sunday. But the snow will get underway before daybreak in most spots. It's just going to be pretty light for several hours. But by 10, 11 in the morning, noon, it's really going to be thumping. I think we could see snowfall rates of an inch to almost 2 inches per hour for a time. Let me back up our animation to when I expect the snow to taper off. Right around here, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, the snow will taper off, may even completely shut down in a lot of places before midnight. And so we're looking at a window of roughly 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. as that period in which the snow is really going to be coming down hot and heavy and really be problematic. As we get beyond our snow event, let's keep in mind the 3 Ps: people, pets, and pipes, because the snow is going to leave, but the cold is not. It's going to be bone chilling all week next week. We're not even going to sniff freezing until sometime in February. In fact, I don't think we get above 20 in a lot of places, maybe until next weekend. So, it's common sense, of course. We say this all the time, both in heat and cold with regards to the pets, but we do these sad stories every time about dogs being left out and left on chains and frozen water bowls and things like that. If you're watching this video, especially this deep into this video, I don't have to lecture you too much on this. You have enough common sense and decency, of course, to take care of the furry friends. But it's just amazing every time it gets hot and cold how many of these sad stories we have to do. Also, infrastructure can be impacted by the length of this cold snap. We're going to spend a lot of nights in the single digits, a lot of days no higher than the teens. Burst pipes can be a problem in this sort of a prolonged cold stretch. And of course the people as well. Weather sensitive people, that means the very young. Make sure the kids are bundled up, all the layers, all the exposed skin is covered up when it's going to be as cold as outside as it's going to be. And the older folks as well. Maybe folks who, can't afford necessarily to heat their homes sufficiently, and maybe you have stubborn older people in your life who don't want to alter their plans as a result of the weather too much, and so they find themselves being out and about when it's really cold outside. And those folks can be more sensitive to cold, of course, than people who are, like myself, more middle-aged kind of folks. All right, so this cold has some staying power. 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, so basically the first week of February. Not much change in the pattern. The warmth compared to average will be in the west. The colder weather is east, and the modeling wants to hang on to this for a while. This is today's weeks 3 and 4 outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. So now we're talking about, heading up to Valentine's Day in February. And while I don't expect the kind of severe cold that we're going to have over the next week to last 2 weeks deep into February, it still, to me, looks colder than the average for a good chunk of the first half of February, so this map makes a lot of sense to me. We're really going to enjoy the first signs of spring this year after a very ugly stretch in the middle and latter portions of the winter season. All right, that's it for me on Weather for Weather Geeks. this evening. But of course, I'll be chiming in throughout the weekend on social media with updates on our storm. I'll be live on WFMJ Weekend Today, Sunday morning. Make sure you're tuning in the evenings and the mornings all weekend long. Make sure you're following me and the rest of our team, Andrew DePaulo, Gavin Sandell, and the Storm Tracker 21 accounts on social media as well, because we keep those accounts up to date. The weather is super important, like it will be this weekend. In the meantime, stay safe this weekend. I hope to see you back here on Monday, and stay safe, everyone.